the newest news is they're going to look at shopping Sanchez. Tebow won't be there.
Yeah.
So what do you like? Do you think that's the right move? Does Sanchez go somewhere else? Do you think Sanchez starts somewhere else? What happens with Tim Tebow? Let's get a couple opinions real quick before we do your game
I'm
picks.
going to say like this. I really don't think there are that many teams that are going to go into this offseason needing a quarterback. I think it's a handful of teams. I mean, besides the Jets, I think the only team you can safely say needs to get a quarterback out of this offseason is Arizona. I think those are really the only two teams. You look
Jacksonville, Oakland.
I was going to say, listen, Jacksonville, it depends on if they think Chad Henne is for real or if they want to give Blaine Gabbert another shot. Those are the only two ways they don't go to look for a quarterback. Philadelphia, it depends on if they think Nick Foles is for real. Kansas City, it depends on if they want to give Matt Castle a do-over.
I don't think that happens.
Cleveland.
That's what I'm saying. I agree with you. It's less than a third of the teams in the league, but there are still 7 or 8 spots that are looking for quarterbacks.
But I'm talking about clear-cut looking for a quarterback. I think there's only 2. Everything else you can make cases for what they have. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that there won't be looking for that. I'm just saying I don't think it's as clear-cut as Arizona and the Jets. And I also started looking at some of the quarterbacks that will probably be available this year. I think the Jets should try to make a play for Matt Flynn, truthfully. I think this guy is just wasting away on Seattle's bench. This is a guy who was signed to a 3-year, $27 million contract with the promise of being a starter, and he basically got Wally pipped in the offseason. He was hurt, and Russell Wilson wound up taking advantage of it. But I still think this is a very capable NFL starter, and I think really Seattle would probably be the only one that would want to trade for a Sanchez or a Tim Tebow because Pete Carroll kind of looks at himself as a mad scientist type of guy.
Pete Carroll will not trade for Mark Sanchez.
I'm not saying.
I bet you Jacksonville will trade for Tim Tebow.
Well, you got to remember also, he is a former coach of him. I'm not saying he would bring Sanchez in to compete with Russell. I think Russell Wilson starts next season as the clear-cut Seattle quarterback. But there is that USC bond there to Mark Sanchez with Pete Carroll. So, I mean, you're telling me it's like when he was thinking about going after Matt Leinart a couple years ago. Tell me who is really going to take a chance on a guy like Mark Sanchez next year. I don't really see too many teams looking to trade for him next year.
I don't see a lot of teams, but like I said, even if the Jets come, somebody will sign him because, like I said, I look at it as Oakland. There's always a chance something can happen.
You said it best, though. I think many teams would try to sign him. There is a difference between signing a guy to a low-risk contract and trading away future draft pick.
I think the Jets will have to. They're going to explore trades, but a trade's not going to work.
But if you think about it,
Sanchez has too much money.
I can't remember the exact numbers, but I do think it's going to cost him a lot to just up and cut him at the end of next season.
It's a $17 million cap hit
next year. It's $17 million. If they keep him, it's $9 million.
Yeah, so I'm saying that's why I'm not really sure they would be open to just straight cutting him at the beginning of next season. But I think Arizona is not going to look for a young quarterback this offseason. Assuming Arizona finally gives up on the Kevin Kolb experiment. Matt Flynn is someone I think they would think about bringing in. Michael Vick is someone who's going to be thought about this year. Even though if you read the rumors, the Jets aren't planning on going after a Michael Vick or an Alex Smith. Smith's someone I think, you could look at for Arizona. And Matt Castle may wind up being available this year if Kansas City does decide to go in a different direction. And you look also, another team that's going to be very interesting, Joe Flacco is really the only big-name quarterback that's a free agent this offseason. Do we think Baltimore definitely resigns him?
They don't let him go. And I don't know if you're going to see a long-term deal, but I don't think they don't let him go.
It does seem like
I think they wouldn't mind giving him a 4 or 5 year deal, but they're not going to sign him for the Eli money. They're not going to sign him for Peyton money.
He's not getting $20 million a year.
It does seem like Cam Cameron was more of the scapegoat of the problems of the offense this year than Joe Flacco was made out to be. It seems like everyone was kind of content putting the faults of the offense on Cam Cameron as a defensive coordinator as opposed to Joe Flacco as a quarterback. So I think they'll wind up bringing him back. But that's really the only quarterback you got to wonder about because he's the only one who's coming into this offseason as an unrestricted free agent. Other than that, it's the Matt Moores. It's guys like that. Jason Campbell's. you know? So, I don't know. Jets, I don't think they should try to get a quarterback in the draft. I think they need to try to address that offensive line. So I think if they do get a quarterback, it's going to be the trade route.
I think if they get a quarterback, they're going to end up getting a guy like... I could honestly see a guy like Alex Smith. I really could. I could see him because he could come in if somehow... I don't even know how this happens. If somehow Rex Ryan is still the coach next year,
that staff pretty much stays.
Well,
that staff stays. They need a quarterback who can come in, be a good game manager, and they need to get back to running the football. Yeah, I think they could get that out of Alex Smith.
I agree with that. I think it would either be Smith or Flynn that they would try to trade for. But I'm going to be honest. I don't think Rex Ryan should be fired. I think Tannenbaum should be fired. I think he did a terrible job. I think he's the one who was picking the personnel, and he gave his coach nothing to work with this year. I think Ryan...
Rex had a say in the personnel.
I think in the end, though, it's the general manager that makes the final say on those decisions. I don't think Rex Ryan is at the point where he has total autonomy over the personnel decisions. Not with Mike Tannenbaum and Woody Johnson on the front office.
No, you're absolutely right. He doesn't... Rex Ryan does not have total control because I'll give you a flat-out example. Woody Johnson is the only one who wanted Tim Tebow.
Yeah.
Tannenbaum didn't want him, Rex didn't want him, and that's why Tebow, we actually did the math on the way down. He's actually averaged about 3 touches a game.
And it's a terrible job.
That is it.
And I think that one, as much as you probably want to blame Rex Ryan for that, I put that on Sperano.
I put it on Rex.
The guy who tried to act like an offensive guru when they asked him the questions, what are you going to do with Tebow? Oh, we're going to do so many different things. You've never seen some of the things we're going to do with him. He didn't do shit with them. Sorry for the language. He didn't do a damn thing with him.
I don't put that on Sperano. I put that on Ryan because... But you look at it, Sperano just came in. Rex Ryan has had Sanchez there for the last few years, and he is Rex Ryan's guy. But Rex didn't want to abandon him.
I agree with that. We all know the deal with Rex Ryan, though. He manages the defense. He lets the offensive coordinator handle the offense. You knew going into this season, Sperano was going to have a relatively free reign with that offense, simply because you know Rex Ryan.
Not when it comes to Tebow, though. Yeah, he did not have free reign to use Tebow where and when he wanted.
Well, I'm sorry. He should have. The way he was talking in this offseason, he's talking like someone who had free reign with Tebow.
He didn't. And that's evident on the field because Rex Ryan doesn't like Tebow, and that's just a fact of life.
Well, then I don't know if that's been proven really either.
Look, the Tebow thing just did not work. It backfired. It blew up. However you want to say it, they messed up on this one. So let me ask you guys. Let me do this real quick because we pretty much got to wrap this up and get Mike's games picks because we're running out of time. Out of Sanchez, Tebow, Tannenbaum, and Ryan, out of those 4, who is most likely to still be in New York next season?
Most likely, I'm going to go with Tannenbaum.
Okay. Mike?
I'm going to say Rex Ryan.
Okay.
I'm going to flat out say, though, I think all 4 are on different teams next year. Okay. Well, with the exception of Tannenbaum, I don't know if he gets another GM job somewhere.
With him?
But I don't think any of these 4 are with the Jets organization at the start of next year.
See, and that's the thing. Liz thinks Rex stays. Joey Balls thinks that pretty much all of them are gone. And Miss Rhodes also thinks that the New York would be better without all of them. Me personally, I think there's a slight chance that out of the 4, Rex is the only one that stays. But I think that right now with everything that's gone on, and Erich mentioned this on either Monday or Tuesday when we talked about the Jets. You saw Ryan on Monday night. He looked like a defeated man, and I think that that's a sign that perhaps all 4 of them just need a change of scenery.
How many times this year have you heard me say Rex Ryan has lost his mojo? He's lost his confidence. I've said it all year long. You could see a change in Rex Ryan from this year to where he was the last few years, and there's no denying that. Once you get that kind of attitude, it's time to go.
He's had a defeated attitude this year. You could definitely see it in the way he talks, but I don't think he's ready to go. I think he gets 1 more year. I really do.
It should be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But with that said, Mike, let's
a lot of good coaches going to be available out there. You're going to have North Turner, you're going to have Andy Reid, you're going to have Gruden still out there. Listen, you have a lot of guys that can come in and can coach this ball club.
The Jets don't want North Turner, and if they do, they're freaking morons. North Turner needs to go back to being an offensive coordinator. He's not a head coach.